Here's Joe again, and welcome back to the Stanley Parable 2. And we're in the expo hall explaining what the Stanley Parable 2 is all about. Epilogue, we go later. Let's go to the collectibles. Oh, yeah, this way. You can find them, you can find them, you can find them. Collectibles.
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
You found it. 1 out of 6. Collect them all. Okay, there will be an achievement for getting them all. They will be somewhere.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Where would they be? I don't want to go back to the places I've been to before. Office decorations. Ah no, that's the balloon thing we went through. Let's go to the infinite hole. It won't end. Let's go to the infinite room then. And hopefully find a collectible on the way. We're still at 1 out of 6. Time depth falling, hole like infinity. Aha. Infinite hole, more hole, infinity falling. Aha. It just keeps going.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is in fact a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
But do we actually want? Yeah, let's fall. Let's fall. Whee!
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so.
Yes.
Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward.
Okay. But what is at the bottom?
Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things.
But what the question is and remains, what is at the bottom?
Stanley, I don't know quite how to say this tactfully, but it's possible that I slightly exaggerated the infinite nature of the hole. Is it a very, very deep hole? To be certain it is. It's an extremely deep hole.
But how
I don't
deep?
want anyone to say that it isn't an astonishingly deep hole. It is. Is it infinite? Well, that sort of depends on your definition of infinity. From one perspective, the infinite is merely philosophical in nature. It's more of a... Okay, well, good for you. You found the bottom of the hole. You found me out, Stanley. I'm a liar and a cheat, and you're so clever. Look, I think the issue here is just that you're unusually fascinated by falling.
Yes.
What normal person actually wants to fall infinitely? I figured the hole was as deep as anyone would actually need. Don't you put this on me. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
And if not?
Great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
The question is, can we go to that door up there? Nah. Okay. Oh, the reassurance bucket is so good. So we have an exit that I don't wanna... Let's look at the... I don't think that exit is actually an exit because there's nothing there. Oh no, we go that way for exit. Nah, we are still missing the epilogue. So this way. An epilogue. An actual end to the game, not infinite repetition. But where is it? Settings World Champion? That way. Huh? That's it? Okay, let's go to this. Okay, Settings World Champion is upstairs. Okay. Anything here? New that I can use? Probably only for Settings World Champions here. Okay, but I want to learn about the epilogue.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, yes, it would go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Okay. There's still no idea how to end a game proper. Just to make it infinite. Okay, I think we've seen everything here. And we're ready to go through the exit. Which is over here. Still haven't found more collectibles, so I assume it was a ruse with the 1 out of 6. Or maybe it put the collectibles
All right.
in the
Have you seen
game.
everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Ooh, Stanley. With the freaking door in his face. Okay. And now?
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2.
Okay. How do we go to it?
Well, I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Ooh.
Who am I kidding, Stanley?
Oh,
This
the
isn't a
epilogue is
coherent
stuck
video game
away
at all.
there.
It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't
The
add
jump
up to
circle.
anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2." Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
The Stanley Parable 2. Wow. Where does this scroll to? I'm inclined to wait. I'm inclined to wait to see where this leads to. Infinite hallway or not? different paintings. Can we go left? No. There's a door. What happens when the game goes through the door? I assume it will now... Oh god, it's bending like crazy. It's bending more. The question is, will we reach the same point again? I like the visuals of this very much. And the question is this already the same? No, this is a different door. Ah, and then through blackness, and this is where it should repeat. If this door opens and we get to the same place. Okay, it repeats. Okay, let's begin the game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked...
Okay, we're at the same point again. Okay. Ah, new
All of his
decorations.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I'm looking for the collectibles, mostly. Where's the collectibles? Oh! Since when is this blocked off? What could I interact with there? Some of the doors, okay.
Stanley felt the bucket calling to him, begging him to pick it up.
Where?
Why was he not doing it?
Where's the bucket? Bucket? Bucket!
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Oh my god. Almost didn't pick up the bucket. Oh, reassurance bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Did they re-record the entire game?
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Collectible here.
Oh,
No
Stanley,
collectible?
can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong.
I can't give the bucket.
This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no.
I
We're
want.
getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life
It's
is
my
so
bucket.
banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together.
Yes.
Go through each of them point by point. Share
We
your
went into the
journal
broom
entries
closet.
detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
This game.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Achievements. Collectible.
You found one of them.
one of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
Yes, indeed.
Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
Yes.
Yes. This is certainly the most logical explanation. Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
I'm so interested to find out what happens when we got all the collectibles. Probably nothing, but a good monologue will come out of that, hopefully. And
the elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
This was a dead end, but it might have a collectible. Let's go here.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would
They
both meet a
re-recorded
violent
every
death.
line to include the bucket. I love it.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Yes. But the bucket is with me now. Bucket's still with me. Oh no, this was the museum stuff, yeah? Oh, the museum must be new this time.
And Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise. Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket. But what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Same thing again.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
Okay.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You're standing at the precipice of knowledge, much like a bucket itself. The human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind that may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the life of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were in ignorance and darkness?
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
A bucket with 2 handles. Too dangerous, recklessly experimental. Every year dozens are put to death just for attempting to create a bucket with 2 handles. Ah, okay. An infinite hole. Inferno bucket. A replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it, billion style, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains no one can control a bucket. Can't take it. We go to the stress bucket, an analogy, worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of assurance. Stress the level of water in the bucket. Coping strategies. Aha. Presented without commentary. Ah. I like the bucket exhibition. Ooh, a drawing of caveman of a bucket. Buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early men's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket. Of course it does. I really love this game.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there's yet more that is always out of reach. This distance inevitably is for our own good. And infinite hole. Grab the bucket.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
I thought about quitting out. We in the bucket got crushed. We're gonna take us a new bucket the next time around. Why is this different again?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Welcome to the whiteboard ending. Dog mode. Dog. Yeah. We activated dog mode on the whiteboard ending. Definitely yes.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
What's a fast ending? Let's go freedom ending with a bucket. Oh, new stuff. There will be a reward for finding them all. How can we find them? Trust the completionist instinct. Warehouse access plan. We need more planks. Inside of a sequel exhibit, nearby a fireplace, a private but smelly place for an important person. Somewhere both red and blue. Stairs, something to do with stairs. Go downstairs, okay. A large room, lots of boxes. Okay, stairs somewhere with... Okay, we need to write them down. Where are the collectibles? Thank you. Red, blue. I remember red, blue, but I don't know where, how we got to that. I think by doing the exact opposite every time and then jumping off the elevator without jumping all the way down. The cargo elevator. Warehouse boxes. And stairs down. Okay. Good. Thank you. There's some kind of game. There must be a point to this. Gotta collect them all. Looks like 427, haha. Fig leaves are hard to find. Follow clues provided by employee 416. Red room? Maybe we are the collectibles. Shut the freak up. 2 men may concern and manage to pick up. Sounds unusual. How can we find them? Bottom text. Sounds unusual to our regular office ambiences or local audio sources using an array of cardioid microphones. Small floating objects that have appeared. Okay. Also known as directional mic. A microphone which picks up sounds from a particular area, like the one I use. Analysis of the recordings allowed me to triangulate the source of the strange noise. Data shows that in all likelihood it's coming from a dark area. Okay, 416. It's coming from a dark area. Dark area behind a very warm place. I also picked up what looks like to be reverberance of a porcelain surface. Wouldn't you like to know? Reverberance of a porcelain, so that's okay. Reverberance of a porcelain surface is the one in the bathroom. Yeah, there's the clue. And the other one is a dark area behind a warm place. Saw one in cargo room. Employee 421 building a bridge. Can we sell them? Obviously. Okay. Don't go into the broom closet. We had that. Okay, let's go down the stairs.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Ah.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Okay, we have 2 more clues on where to find them. This was the dream sequence.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
Please.
He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized
it was just a bucket.
This isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket.
Where's my bucket?
Indeed. Now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be?
He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find
Or we're
me.
deactivating.
He had to find the bucket.
Dog
He had to
mode
return
as
to his
soon
old
as we
friend.
can.
It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
The bucket is inside of me. I can only reassure myself. I don't
This
need
is the
outside
story
sources.
of a woman named Mariella.
Okay, what did they change about
Mariella
the
woke
dead
up on a
ending?
day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by
doesn't
the
have a
body of a
bucket.
man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was.
He didn't have
This
a bucket.
man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him.
Of course.
Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Of course. Okay, and we're out of episode time for today, but that was interesting. I can't wait to see where the bucket and I are gonna continue next. The problem is I haven't completely explored the base game without the bucket. But I think if I just ignore the bucket and go through, we are out of new content and going back into old content. I think that is how I would have structured it. Like, if we pick up the bucket in the beginning room, we get the new content, and if you don't pick it up, we get the old content. I think that's it. So, have a nice day. See you tomorrow with more bucket adventures. Have a nice day.